Happy Veterans Day, Praetorian Project family. My name's Brian O'Day. I am a veteran. I'm also one of the pastors of Pillar Church in Jacksonville, North Carolina, right here where I am now. And then I also have the pleasure to serve as the executive director of the Praetorian Project. Thank you for taking a few moments to watch this video. I trust that you're watching this video because either you are already a part of the Praetorian Project family or you're part of the extended family, all the different churches and individuals who help us do what we do. Today, the Praetorian Project is a family of multiplying churches in military communities worldwide. Now, we say that for a couple reasons worldwide. One, we are kind of spread out, right? We have folks on the east coast of the continental United States, on the west coast of the continental United States, and one of the islands of Japan. Members of our churches are scattered all over the world throughout any given week. They deploy all over the world all the time. And so we really are, as a family of churches, spread out all over the world, even though our churches are only in 2 countries currently. But I wanted to share in this video where we are now and where we think God is leading us to go next. So where we are now, we're in 4 regions. We're in the National Capital Region. We have 4 churches up there. DC, Pillar Woodlawn, which is in Alexandria, Virginia, Dumfries, and Stafford, which is our newest church. So 4 churches in that region. All those churches are either multiplying or moving towards multiplication in the near future. We also have 2 churches in eastern North Carolina, Jacksonville and Topsail. These churches are seeking to multiply and grow and advance the gospel through these churches. We have 3 churches in Southern California, Oceanside, San Diego, and 29 Palms. We have 1 church in the islands of Japan on Okinawa, and they are there. Pillar Okinawa is out there. And so those are the 4 regions where we are. And you may be asking, how did we get to those regions? Well, it's pretty simple. God was raising up several of us to plant churches about 10 years ago. And God was calling us to plant churches in Marine Corps communities. And we started to ponder, what would it look like if we worked together to plant these churches in Marine Corps communities? And as we started to pass members back and forth between our churches, how could we work together to do that better? And so we realized that if we planted churches in the 4 regions where we are today, that we could see the Marine Corps have access to a network of churches that love them and was working together to serve them and to partner with them and to raise them up to whatever they would do in their second career. And so we've seen that happen. Today, we're in those 4 regions. We have multiplying churches in those 4 regions. Today, about 80% of the Marine Corps has access to one of our churches. We're so excited about that. But what's God leading us to next? We have seen God moving us towards other services as well. And so we now don't say that we're reaching Marine Corps communities. We say we're a family of multiplying churches in military communities. We believe God's calling us to reach all the services, and really we already are reaching all of the services. We have members from all of the uniformed services in our churches. So we're excited about that. But there's a lot more work to be done. And so we're looking at regions that we see high concentrations of military. We're also looking at regions where we see high concentrations of veterans getting out of the military. These veterans are a very important aspect in our work together. They stabilize our churches when they get out and they stay put and they stay a part of one of our churches. A lot of these veterans move into leadership in our churches. They're deacons, they're elders, and many of them become church planters as well. And so we're so excited for that. So we want to focus on areas where there's lots of military of different services and where there's a lot of veterans as well. And so the 3 next regions we're looking at is the Tidewater of Virginia. So Norfolk area of Virginia. It's a heavily Navy area, but honestly, a lot of the other services are there as well. And a lot of veterans stay in Norfolk once they get out of the military and they've been stationed there. The second region is Central Texas. Central Texas is a large area. It is a large military concentration. You think of San Antonio, you think of Fort Hood, you think of some of these larger bases in Texas. Heavily Army area, heavily Air Force area. And so we're looking at this area, a lot of transitioning veterans in this area. Texas is the #1 place that someone could be stationed in the U.S. military. The third area we're looking at is northwestern Washington State. So the Seattle, Washington area, Joint Base Lewis McChord is up there. Heavily Army, heavily Air Force, heavily Navy. Coast Guard is up there as well. And so a lot of folks there. It's another place where service members, when they transition out of the military, they'll stay put in that area and they find that it's a place that they can be for the long haul. And so again, we're excited when veterans can stay in our churches, provide some of that stability for our churches as we're ministering to this highly transient community. And then many of our veterans are also raised up within our churches and sent out on church planting teams. They're sent out as church planters. They're sent out as pastoral partners for church planters. And so we're seeing this and we're seeing God use veterans. So I want to ask you to do a couple things if you're with me to this point. I want to encourage you to partner with us in a deeper way in this next year. As you think about veterans on Veterans Day, as maybe you're a veteran, I want you to think about partnering with us in a deeper way. So the first one is you as an individual. I would encourage you to join my family in partnering in a significant way with the Praetorian Project. One thing, when my family sits around and we read the Bible and we sing a song and we pray, one of the things that we pray for is the Praetorian Project. We're praying for these 3 regions. We're praying for the Tidewater, Virginia, Central Texas, Northwest Washington State. We're praying for these things. We're praying that God would raise up church planters for these areas. We're praying that God would raise up church planting teams for these areas. We're praying that God would build multiplying churches in these areas and we'd be able to reach the entire region with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Also, as a family, we partner financially with the Praetorian Project. I would invite you to join us in that endeavor. It takes money to do what we do. When I talk about these regions and how spread out we are and the geographic difference, it takes travel, it takes ability to get there. New churches are hard, and starting them up does take financial resources. So we would ask you to partner with me and my family as an individual ongoing supporter of the Praetorian Project. The second thing I want you to consider is I assume that you're part of a local church, and I want you to lead your local church to partner with us in a more significant way. Some churches partner with our greater work and support us financially in this greater work of the Praetorian Project. This helps us towards these strategic aims, towards some of these bigger legs that we're trying to plant from eastern U.S. into the central U.S. or from Southern California up to Washington State. Some of those are more difficult, and so it takes additional funding. So you could fund that way. Or if one of these areas is of particular interest to you, you could prayerfully consider partnering with that church plant when it comes to fruition. You could say, I want to adopt that church plant, and I want to prayerfully and financially support that church plant. I would love to have those conversations with you and or the leadership of your church. I'm so thankful you took the time to watch this video. If you're watching this by yourself, or if you're watching this as a group, I'm going to ask you to do one more thing. I want you, as soon as the video is over, to stop and pray for the Praetorian Project. I want you to stop and pray that we would be able to make Jesus known in these 3 regions in the years to come. I love you guys. Thanks.